Air India Flight 119 flies at 35,000 feet, headed for New York, when an unexpected decision is taken by the crew. 4 hours into its trip, the pilots make a quick U-turn, guiding the aircraft back to Mumbai, retracing its route through the night. No announcement, no explanation, just 8 hours spent in the air, filled with questions. Passengers expecting a smooth trip across the Atlantic were left wondering what went wrong mid-flight. Then, the truth comes out. A passenger had found a brief handwritten note with an unsettling word written on it. This small note, with barely a full sentence, was enough to send the aircraft flying back to Mumbai. What began as a normal flight turned into a puzzle mid-air. What caused this major change, and how did a single note disrupt a transatlantic trip? Let's dive into the details of this unusual event. On March 10, 2025, Air India Flight 119, flown by a Boeing 777, is preparing for its long flight to New York from Mumbai's airport. At 1:40 a.m. local time, the plane leaves Terminal 2 and carries 322 people. 303 are passengers and 19 crew members. The flight begins normally, following its usual steps, and starts its planned 15-hour route. After takeoff, everything goes as per plan, and then 4.5 hours into the flight, at 35,000 feet over Azerbaijan and about 4,000 kilometers from Mumbai, a worrying discovery occurs. A passenger gets up to go to the washroom, and inside, he unknowingly finds a handwritten note. This note has a worrying sentence written on it. There is a bomb on this flight. Seeing this, he quickly informs the cabin crew, who then feeds this information to the captain. A decision is then quickly made to return back to Mumbai, skipping possible stops at closer airports like Istanbul or Dubai. At this point, the plane is roughly a quarter of the way to New York, still over 10,000 kilometers from its destination. So the pilots adjust the course and turn the aircraft back over the Caspian Sea, a move that surprises some passengers who notice the shift on their seatback flight maps. However, none of the passengers are told explicitly why they are flying all the way back to Mumbai. Then, after a total of 8 hours and 20 minutes in the air, Flight 119 lands back at Mumbai at 10:25 a.m. local time. The passengers are moved to a safe area while a thorough search of the aircraft is followed, checking everything from the cargo hold to the seats. This process takes about 5 hours, with sniffer dogs and specialized equipment being brought in to inspect every corner. Then, after several hours, officials find no explosive devices, and the threat is called a hoax. But the impact is serious, with hundreds of passengers being delayed and the airline facing a logistical mess in rescheduling the trip. The question to be asked here is, why did Air India decide to turn back and return to Mumbai instead of landing at a closer place like Istanbul or Dubai? When a bomb threat is reported mid-flight, airlines follow clear rules set by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. The captain, working with his crew, and the airline's operations center in Mumbai review the situation. They judge the threat's seriousness and choose the safest path forward, often consulting security experts on the ground. In this case, the handwritten note was taken seriously, despite its simplicity. Any hint of a bomb triggers a high alert response, no matter how vague. Here, the note's lack of detail, no specific place or time, caused doubt, requiring a careful response. Stopping in another country with a possible security problem on board would shift responsibility to local officials, possibly causing further delays due to different rules or coordination problems. Also, bringing an unconfirmed threat into another country's airspace raises political concerns, making the response harder. Returning to Mumbai offers access to known security teams, set procedures, and direct oversight by Indian officials like the Central Industrial Security Force, which guards India's airports. The Boeing 777's long range, over 14,000 kilometers, meant that the plane could make the round trip without refueling, a key factor since it still had over half its fuel left. Notably, this event matches a recent pattern. Multiple hoax threats affected Indian flights in October 2024. Some traced to social media pranks, raising questions about how airlines can filter real dangers from fake ones. India itself has had nearly 1,000 hoax threats in 2024, something concerning considering how disruptful one hoax can be. This case stands out due to its length, 8 hours of flight time with no destination change, with the flight rescheduled for March 11th at 5 am. No suspect behind this note has been named yet, leaving the why unanswered. With India's aviation sector growing and new airlines like Air Kerala starting in 2025 and passenger numbers expected to hit 300 million annually by 2030, security steps must keep pace. The country's regulators are now pushing for stricter penalties for hoax threats. Air India continues to seek improvements, but events like this show the challenges that are involved, where even a scribbled note can ground a plane.